All right. Well, welcome back, team. It's the first Wednesday of the month and it's already June, so summer is right around the corner. um, this is our fifth episode of the year. We have Jen with us today. She is the program manager at the Houston site. If you all remember David, he was on the FitPro show all of last year and a couple of years before that. So Jen is now filling his role at that site, and she's doing a fantastic job. And I'm really excited to have her with us. She has a lot of great knowledge and background within personal training, and I'll actually let her kind of introduce herself and fill you guys up to speed with what her history is and what brought her to HP.
Thank you, Hannah. Yes, I'm kind of new here still, but absolutely loving it. The environment is great. The people are wonderful. As I was saying, I have big shoes to fill with David because he certainly was fabulous at what he did. So a little bit about my background. I have been a health and fitness professional for over 20 years now, to age myself a little bit. So I've been in the industry for a while. That's what I went to college for. It's always been my passion. And then since then, just picked up a bunch of different certifications. I wanted as much knowledge and information on everything that health and fitness, all different aspects of it. So just been acquiring all of that knowledge since then and applying it in a few different roles. My previous job was at a country club here in Houston, Texas, and I was there for about 13 years as a health coach and personal trainer and group fitness instructor. Yeah, and then HP was just, I loved that job, loved that role, but kind of looking for something that challenged me just a little bit more, something a little different. So the corporate wellness, I think it's just incredible. We're seeing such a rise in that because our employers are recognizing the importance of our health, our safety, your well-being. So that really interested me. And now here I am at HP in Houston.
Great. When we learned that you had so many years of personal training, I was like, that is awesome because I'm a little bit newer with the personal training, only been doing it about 4 or 5 years now. So the knowledge and the way that things change, it's always important to keep up with the certifications like you were mentioning. Um, so
Yes.
today, because she's worked with so many clients that have and spoke with so many different people that maybe weren't clients and became clients, we are going to be discussing overcoming plateaus. So first, we'll just kind of define what exactly is a plateau. Um, I would say it's basically when you have very little or no change at all after following a pretty long period of activity or following a program to try to see progress, but you're seeing nothing. So maybe you saw a lot of progress. Your goal was trying to get stronger, and then the last few months you've still been following your program, but your strength is staying the same, or maybe even slightly going down, or you're just not hitting anymore. You're not seeing that steady climb. And not
Mhm.
like seeing a steady climb is okay. It's hard to constantly be um, consistent in growth, but we were going to see a little bit ups and downs. But once you get stuck and you're just completely plateauing, that's what we're kind of talking about today. Um, any other way you want to describe it, Jen?
No, I love that. Yes, and kind of like Hannah was saying, we don't have to always be, in the beginning, it's easier sometimes to start to see those results and we get excited. And then it's very normal after a little while for your body to adapt and for things to kind of level off a little bit. And it's okay to find that happy place where you've hit your goals and you're at a maintenance phase. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But today we're kind of more addressing when you aren't at that maintenance phase yet, maybe. Maybe you are working out really hard and you're putting all this time in at the gym and you've stopped seeing those results. That can be so frustrating. And, we just want to share with you guys today some ways that you can overcome those because you are doing the hard work. You're putting that time in. And as we know, we don't have a lot of time. I feel like that's what I hear the most is I'm short on time. So we want to make sure that your workouts are effective when you do have the time to work out. So that's kind of the plateau that we are addressing today, is the one
Mhm.
that it's not the maintenance phase. It's where you've stopped seeing results and aren't sure how to get that kind of going again.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate that it's okay to be in a maintenance phase and just be kind of static if you're happy with where you're at. But I know most people, like, you always want to see growth, even like in your personal life, in your work life, in your exercise regimen, and in your body composition. So, first, just kind of think about your goals. Have you been exercising every day, wanting to has your goal been to get stronger? Has your goal been to lose weight? Have you been wanting to improve your cardiovascular endurance and decrease your mile run time? Just think about what maybe you've been working towards, and have you felt that you are staying the same, or do you feel like you are really steadily like making small strides towards those goals of yours? And I think once we think about it, you might right now be realizing that you have been in a plateau for a while. And maybe today's the day you're like, okay, I've been in this maintenance phase plateau and I do want to make a change. So hopefully some of the tips that we talk about today can help you work towards those goals. Um, so I kind of just touched on it a little bit, but there are like three main areas that we look at of different types of plateaus in health and fitness. So number one, I think of when someone comes in my office and says, I've, I'm not losing any more weight. So weight loss. They've been cutting calories, exercising, and they made this big drastic change, and they were seeing that scale weight drop, drop, drop. They keep that change, their body adapts to that, and then they're plateauing. Their weight is just staying the exact same. So that's number one that I see a lot. The second one I'll see a lot is I'm not gaining any more strength or muscle. Like no matter what I'm doing, I'm not getting stronger. And I'm in the gym lifting weights 3, 4 times a week. I'm doing the workout plan I was given, or I found online, or I'm going to classes and not seeing any change. Um, so again, our body adapts. That's going to be like kind of one of the number one reasons why we hit these plateaus. And then the third type of plateaus I'll see, not as common, but I'll still see it, is that cardiovascular wise, they're just a client might not be seeing that they're able to run for longer distances, speed up their run time. They're just still they're hitting that same like mile pace. They're hitting that same distance. And no matter what they're trying to do to push themselves, they're not able to get further or run faster or bike faster or swim further, any type of cardiovascular um, exercise modality. So those are kind of the three types that we see a lot in health and fitness.
Yes, and like you said, a client may come to you and say, "Why? I'm doing all these things," and we see them in the gym and they are putting that time in, which can be so frustrating. And, so many times I hear, "Well, I'm just gonna quit. If what am I doing all this work for? I am, doing all the right things and I've stopped getting results." And so that can be really frustrating, which is why I felt this topic was really important, that don't
Mm-hmm.
quit, don't give up. You're doing great. You just may need to make a few little changes that can get you motivated again and seeing some progress. So that's what we want to share with you today. Keep going. You're doing it.
So speaking of plateaus, I mean, how much of this is related to age with declining muscle mass, declining bone density, slowing metabolism? Like, how much of that can be countered? The older you get, you probably have to do more countering. So can you talk a little bit about that, in the time that we have?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. That's a very great point, John. Those are absolutely factors that come into play. And there are strategies for those as well. So, of course, anyone can hit a plateau. And those are factors that will play into, maybe you've stopped gaining muscle because you've hit an age where, as we know, it's just harder, it's more challenging. Or maybe your cardiovascular fitness was at its peak And you may not continue seeing progress on that, but there are ways that we can um, overcome some of those as well. There's a lot of strategy involved, I feel like, with any type of exercise program.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing some studies, don't like repeat me quite on this, but I was seeing something that if we can actually maintain keeping our heart rate up and strength training, we can probably get into a maintenance mode all the way up to like our 70s and 80s, where we can, I mean, maybe not where you're bench pressing 200 pounds and squatting 300, doing the crazy weights, but you could potentially be able to get your body into this maintenance mode for a pretty long time, but that is going to be okay. You have to be mentally okay with that plateau. So age definitely is a factor. But I think there's always different areas we can tune in. If we know that like I'm hitting an age where lifting this much weight and running faster, like I'm not at my peak, our body is steadily declining. Exercise, the best way will be to look at it is to try to stop that decline and get into that maintenance mode more when you are starting to get older in age. I wish there was magic medicine that we could say you'll just continuously keep strength training and you'll just get stronger and stronger every year of your life. So it definitely does play a factor.
Yes, those goals have to be adjusted as far as your expectations and your goals may turn into things like balancing, or, maybe we change those things so you're constantly seeing progress, but maybe it's not in muscle hypertrophy or strength gains or cardiovascular. Yeah, so thank you, John. That's a great point.
So I'm gonna share a slide that's just talking about why we hit plateaus. There's 4 main reasons why we do, and then Jen and I are just gonna talk a little bit more about that. So let me find it. All right. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so number 1 we see is adaptation. I said this a lot earlier, but our body just adapts to what you're doing. That's kind of the goal. And if we don't start to add change, we're just going to hit that. Our body's going to adapt. We're going to be able to just keep coasting with what we're doing, and you have to constantly add variety to change. So go ahead and speak on that a little bit more, Jen.
Yes, thank you, Hannah. That is such a big one, and you're going to hear that word a lot. Our bodies are amazing, right? They are incredible, and they adapt for excellent reasons, right? We adapt to our environments, we adapt to the stress that we put on our bodies, and that's how we get stronger, and our cardiovascular endurance is improved. So our cardiovascular systems, our muscles, our nervous system, all of those systems are meant to adapt. But that is where we're going to see that plateau happen, right? It's our body becoming very efficient at what we are doing. So this one and the solutions we have for you are going to be probably our biggest topic that we cover today, because there are a lot of ways that we can prevent that adaptation from happening, or maybe not prevent, may not be the right word, but to continue to challenge our bodies. So when it does adapt, we give it a new stimulus to continue making progress.
So this is where programming is really important. So programming your exercise plans. So say you are strength training, your goal is gaining muscle mass, maybe losing some body fat. We need a progressive overload. So we do need to add more stress to our body than what it's used to, so that we do have those muscle fiber tears, and then re-muscle grows, that's hypertrophy. But a lot of these cross-reference on the screen together, because that isn't going to occur if we don't have appropriate nutrition, if we're overtraining, if we're mentally stressed. So a lot of them really cross over here. But adding variety, our body is going to get, if you follow the same workout routine, it's going to get very just used to that. You're going to notice that you're not having sore muscles anymore. You just get stuck in those movement patterns that you find comfortable. So try to change things up a little bit, become more uncomfortable in your workout plans. So say we've been doing dumbbell bench press on a flat bench for 6 weeks. Or maybe you've even been doing that
I was
for
going to say 12 years.
like 12
sometimes.
weeks, or you've
Yeah.
been doing it for years.
Right.
Add that in, make that bench go to an incline, change it up where you're practicing eccentric. So very slow down, 1 second up. Maybe you're going to add some single arm variations. So change it up a little bit so your body doesn't already just know what to expect. But don't change it up too often. We've talked about this in other strength training episodes. I know when we had Zach on, you need to pick a variety and a way to do an exercise, stick with that 6 weeks, and then maybe add a change to that type of exercise so your body has a time to adapt, and that's how we'll continuously see progress. Then the next one that do you have anything else on that, Jen?
I mean, I could talk about that for hours. So if we're not coming back to it, I will elaborate, but that's up to you. I would just
go
say,
ahead.
Yeah, yes, that variety, and that can be, anything from just changing the time, the tension, the time your muscles are under tension. So continuing to do that bench press, but maybe we're slowing it down so that you press one, hold one, slow on the return. It can be very simple changes. We don't have to go out there and, you can look on YouTube and see there's all kinds of crazy exercises, and you don't have to drastically change anything that you're doing. And that applies to not just muscular, but the cardiovascular, like we talked about. I think one of my favorite questions that throughout my 20 years in the industry, I often get is, what's the best cardio? A lot of people have, which great, good. They are researching, they're looking online, and they'll say, I've heard that running is the best cardio, or I've heard that the stairs are the best cardio. And my favorite response is, the best cardio is the cardio that you personally aren't doing often, because that's that variety, right? That's that change that we need to do. Oh, my computer's telling me I have a mandatory restart right now. Hold on. Sorry.
So
Okay.
I definitely think that's like the best concept I've ever heard. It's the best cardio is the ones you don't do frequently because your body's not used to it. But we also see that those long endurance athletes, they train with intervals, they shock their
Cross-training.
body and they do different, they don't just go on really long runs all the time. So add variety in the cardio, add variety in the weightlifting, cross the two together. Don't overtrain, which is what we'll kind of talk about next, but just keeping that variety in there. But it doesn't have to be as complicated as you're thinking. You don't need to just switch up your entire workout regimen. I definitely like changing time under tension, and then the variety of the same exercise you're doing. There's so many different types of squats, pause squats, chair squats, front squats, back squats, goblet. There's sumo, just you're still doing a squat, but maybe just change it up a little bit. But the time, I know we all can just get into the gym and do what's comfortable, but start trying one exercise where you change the timing of it and see how you feel the next day.
Yes.
And I think the best way to also back to programming is you've got to keep track of what you're doing. You might, if you aren't keeping track and you're just doing your regular routine, you might not realize that you have been doing the exact same thing for the past year, month, you haven't added any change. So if you have a notepad or a phone or an app, something that just kind of keeps track so that oh, wow, I've done the same type of squat for the last 8 weeks. I'm going to just change this squat up a little bit.
Yes, even as a fitness professional, I find myself when I'm doing my own workouts, I'm going back to those exercises that my body has adapted to because they're easier.
It's
And I'm not
comfortable.
choosing. Yes, it's comfortable, it's easy. So I have to sometimes remind myself, okay, let's let's do something that's maybe a little more challenging. Maybe I don't love it as much as that jump squat that I've been doing for 20 years. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yes, so keeping track is a great way to make sure that you are adding those little changes, even for us as fitness professionals.
Yeah, definitely. So the next one we'll talk about is overtraining. I see this a lot, especially at my previous job where I worked at a gym that had all classes that were HIIT, so high intensity interval training. And I had people coming and doing those workout classes all 7 days a week. And it was hard because my job was that's the goal, like come to as many classes as possible. But in reality, they were, saying I saw a lot of progress at first and now I'm plateauing. I'm not getting any stronger. I'm not losing any more body fat. What's going on? And I would tell them, I'm like, don't come to Sunday class. Like, don't come to class on Sundays. Maybe not even Wednesdays. You need adequate rest so that your body can recover and you'll see your muscles be able to adapt and your body is just able to regenerate enough energy so you can actually have better workouts and pick up heavier weights and push yourself more. If you're overtraining, you're just going to be getting through it and you're just going to be putting in all this work for really just to maintain where you're at or almost even go backwards a little bit. I had a teammate in college that she did experience like overtraining syndrome. So that's where you are overtraining so much that your body starts to shut down. Like she got a fever, she got sick, she atrophied her muscles a ton. And so that was because the idea is like no pain, no gain, like keep working as hard as possible, but you're gonna hit that overtraining point where your body literally cannot recover. Um, I personally used to overtrain for years. I think these last 2 years, I've found that I stopped doing as many HIIT workouts every day. I squeeze them in about like one time a week. I lift like 4 days a week, and I have rest days planned where I still go on walks. I still stretch on those days, but I don't beat myself down for not getting an intense workout in. I'm also okay when I'm just getting my lift in and I'm not sweating profusely and pushing myself. And I've actually seen the most progress ever.
Mhm.
Like I like the way I look, I like the way I feel, I'm strong. And I don't feel like I work nearly as hard as I used to. So I definitely experienced that a little bit myself.
Yes, that's such a great point. Sometimes people are shocked to hear us say, take a day or two off and you will start to see results because we're creating those little micro tears in our muscles, which is great, right? We're working hard, we're creating them. But in order to rebuild, repair, and get stronger, we have to allow them that time. If you create those little micro tears and then the very next day you tear them again, and the next day you tear them again, you're spinning your wheels. So those rest and recovery days can help you get results if overtraining is what's happening. So,
Hmm. But those results will only happen if you are following a training plan that is challenging your body and um, you're in progressive overload or challenging yourself with a good cardiovascular training plan. Again, if you're just doing everything that your body is used to, you might just still be in a plateau. So you need to be in the days that you are exercising that needs to be challenging and have variety and be pushing yourself so that your rest days you are seeing that recovery muscle repair and then when you get back on it it's the same thing and it's a constant cycle. All right, then all of this also cannot occur unless we have proper nutrition and hydration or a diet that supports your workouts. And you all know this, but you cannot out train a bad diet. Like you just really cannot. I'd love if we talked about this with Jenny last month. I'd love if usually it's like 70% nutrition, 30% exercise really to hit your goals. I wish it was the other way around. It would be a lot easier for me. But that's just how it is. We have to make sure that we're fueling ourselves properly. we are able to get enough protein, our nutrients, we're not lacking any vitamins in our diet. We're staying nice and hydrated. Our body will not be able to recover and rest unless we have those proper nutritional factors.
Yes.
Anything else on that, Jen?
Yes, again, I feel like anyone who's trained with me or taken my classes, that's something I harp on a lot because it is so important. Again, you're putting this time in at the gym. So if you come to me for a training session and you haven't, a strength training, and you haven't eaten in 4 hours, what's going to happen is as we begin our workout, your body will break down the very muscle that we are trying to build during your time with me to utilize as an energy source. We'd love for it to be the fat. We'd love for it to just pull from the fat, right? That we have stored, but that's not how it works. So you do have to fuel your body the right way before you exercise to make sure that you're giving your body what it needs to do what you're asking it to do.
Mm-hmm. As well as after, if you say you have
Yes,
that rest
absolutely.
day, rest also includes sleep. So when we're sleeping, that recovery and repair is occurring, and that's best going to be occurred when we have proper nutrients in our
Yes,
system.
replenishing what we have, what our workout has taken out, replenishing that afterwards. Yes, very important.
Yeah. And then the last common cause that we see for plateaus is mental and emotional factors. So this can be when you're really not motivated, but you're just getting in and doing the dang thing. You're not excited. You're going through the motions. You're pretty stressed and just mentally not at your best during your session, which it is hard to be mentally there all the time. I've been finding myself in a little bit of a rut lately when it comes to strength training. Um, so for advices for that, we always want you to try to find new motivation, change things up, try taking a little break from whatever you've been doing. Say you've been lifting a lot and you want to take a break and do some group exercise classes, something different gets you motivated, and then maybe you find that love and passion back into your lifting. But those, when you're mentally exhausted and stressed and emotionally not doing great, your body's also going to cause you to hit that plateau.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, which is also a great time to seek out a fitness professional, right? Let us do the planning for you. You can just show up and we will have a program designed for you and provide some of that motivation, or in a group exercise class. You got the camaraderie of other people, and sometimes that's uplifting enough that your workout will be more efficient and effective because you're not just going through the motions, but you're making that mind muscle connection. You're excited about it, and that just carries through to your workout where it's a little more intense and you're putting that little bit of extra effort in. I think that's really important that you're not just checking a box, because that does nothing for your mental fatigue that's already there, right? If you feel like you have to go work out,
Mm-hmm.
find something you enjoy, and it will, like our Hannah just did our webinar, the Move Your Body, Refresh Your Mind. Your workout should make you feel good and
Mm-hmm.
inspired and motivated.
Yeah, and I definitely think a part of like discipline is understanding that you might not always feel that motivation. And it might just be that you have to force yourself to get into the
Mhm.
gym and make it happen. I've been there, Jen's been there, a lot. I know a lot of others on the call have been there, but it's when you find yourself in that feeling and in that rut for extended periods of time. And then it's kind of like, all right, we need to change something up because I'm putting this work in. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing and I'm not making any progress. So let's change things up. So understand that it is okay to feel like that for a few sessions or a few weeks. But if it's like happening more than not, then I definitely encourage you to seek out some support from one of us, getting a new plan or just trying something new or taking even a little bit of a break, letting your body recover. And when you're mentally ready to get back into it, then give it your all and see if you can get that motivation back. But you're not alone if you feel that way, because I have been feeling that way lately. I had to drag myself to the gym this morning made it happen. Really glad I did. But yeah, just if you feel it for an extended period of time, then definitely try to change things up.
Yes, and
All
see
right.
us. It's what we're
Yeah.
passionate about. So we want to help. We want you to love your workout. So I know Hannah and I could talk about all of these things forever, but thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, everyone. If you have any questions or do want any help with creating a plan that keeps you working towards your goals, feel free to message us directly and we can help sit down with you and help you out. But other than that, our next episode will be in July. So enjoy June. We'll see you when summer is fully kicked off, and enjoy the sunshine if you have some. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
Hannah.
all.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah,
Thank you,
you're welcome.
everyone. Thanks. Good to see
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.